That is the sound we hear for the last post-match episode of the 2025 calendar year. Welcome to The Real Deal, a Real Madrid podcast with me, Jarod Hector, joined by Sid. What's up, my guy? I can't hear you. Either on mute. Something went crazy. You went away. Can you hear me? You can hear me. Yeah, it's weird. I couldn't hear you at all. And I heard the intro music, so I don't know what's going on. But what I'll just say is Real Madrid, a 2-0 win over Sevilla. This match was frustrating on a variety of levels. We'll get into that. We'll get into the players who did well, who didn't, Xabi Alonso, the organization, blame game, all that. But to recap, this was a match that Real Madrid, struggled in, honestly. And it's kind of indicative of how they've been playing the last, month and a half, right? Last 6 to 8 weeks. I think I hear you now, Sid. I heard some clicking. Oh, nope. That was your mic clicking, not you. No, I don't know what's going on. Anybody out there hear Sid? Anyway, so the last 6 to 8 weeks or so, this is how this team has been playing, just struggling to beat teams that they should beat, right? Like Sevilla is a bottom of the table team, right? Bottom third. And we were having such difficulties dealing with them. And this is another game in which we see what happens when Xabi Alonso gives in to the players and allows them a little bit more control and allows them to do a little bit more of what they want to do. You see how we still struggle, especially defensively, right? Like one of the things that you can say about those first 14 games of the season, Atleti game notwithstanding, is that there was a clear idea about how we're going to play, what we're going to do out of possession, and what we're going to do in possession, right? And we basically limited our opponent's ability to have shots and generate chances. And we had most of the possession, generated tons of shots and a ton of XG. Now, we were not clinical and did not finish well in those first 14 games, but the underlying process was there, and it was very obvious to see. And then obviously we had what happened and Vinny and this and that, and then the give-ins to the players start, and then you slowly start seeing things regressing, right? And in today's match especially, you saw it. And look, some of it is due to injury, right? You've got players who are not used to playing together, right? All of that. But
Testing.
There you go. Here you come, Sid.
Awesome, guys. So sorry about that. And Jarod, awesome work freestyling. Jarod's amazing at this, guys. That was ridiculous.
Well, listen, this is what I do. But I want to get into, Sid, let's go with the lineup first and who started. So, look, we had limitations because red cards, injuries, all that, right? So we had to play a way to play. However, I was like, look, do we have to see Fran Garcia at left back? I think we know what that's like. We know what that is. Like, we've seen that before. We know what this movie is. Why not start Jimenez there?
Yeah. Right? So the lineup is a great question. And honestly, Jimenez is a great question. I went back through the film because Valdepenas is the one people want to start at left wing back. I don't think Valdepenas, who is literally a center back playing left back, is going to make the same timed runs as Fran Garcia. If you want a wing back who's running behind Sevilla, you want Fran Garcia. And one thing we obviously noticed was that as Jude was waving it around, we were trying to play to Fran with Vinny tucking in or Fran underlapping with Vinny going wide. But we saw Sevilla's left flank was a weak spot. And I just don't think Valdepenas could have played that role. But I agree that on the right side, we definitely could have had some more Jimenez. I don't know if Alonso looked at that goal we conceded, the first one. It technically comes from Jimenez's area at the near post against.
Oh, you mean last game?
Copa del Rey, going back there. So I'm just okay, just as a head coach, you might have seen things that's just maybe he's going to give a goal up. I don't know, but yes, Jimenez is a better attacking player, no question.
But we talked about that, Sid, and it was is it Rudiger's fault? Was it Valdepenas' fault? I think a lot of that comes from the two of them having no synergy because they don't play together. That match was the first time they ever played. Practice doesn't count. Meaningful minutes in a pressure situation, that match was the first time they did it.
Yes, 100%. And I guess that kind of brings us into the big complaint people have had about Alonso, because we've done a lot of defending of Alonso and criticizing the club, but he definitely has not played the Castilla guys as much as needed. Now, we defend him because when we were winning, he wasn't playing them and we were fine. But I will say this. If we're going to agree that we can't go back to the team that was winning those games, especially with Arda Güler, who we'll get to today, like just not able to control these games, if we're not going back, then some of these auxiliary defensive positions you might as well fill with Castilla players. Like that era of the club is over, is the idea. And I agree with Giga here, because Giga, like a lot of people who are commenting against Xabi, they're not like they're just calling him names. I don't know how to say it. They're not like they're mad and they're using invectives. And I'm like, okay, but like I don't really see how you would do a better job if you were there. But this, I love it from Giga. He says, in my opinion, the mistake both Carlo and Xabi made is try to appease everyone politically. When Zidane was under similar pressure, he still played whoever he thought would get him results and then got up and left after the season while criticizing Perez in his farewell letter. Xabi definitely has a little bit of the air of someone who wants to have a perfect coaching career, who's already reached the mountaintop and wants to perfect it at Real Madrid. He wants to be our Ferguson, whatever. I agree with that. Like Zidane was playing Hugo Duro and Blanco over Odegaard and Jovic, and those guys, I'm sure Perez wanted their market value to go up. What are your thoughts on this? Obviously, he's low on the blame scale, as we've talked about, but just to jump into it.
I mean, look, I think this being his second major job, right? Leverkusen and now this, right? I'm not going to count Sociedad B because that was in a second tier division, right? But to have Real Madrid be your second job, that's a big deal, especially given all the politicking and machinations that go on inside this club. Sid did an excellent job on Friday or earlier this week talking about the disaster that is the internal part of this club just on the medical side alone. Forget about everywhere else, just the medical team alone. The shithousery going on inside this club. So to have this be your next major job, your second job, is a lot. And to your point, Sid, you know, it's not that I don't think Xabi's competitive or has fire or anything like that. I think to your point, you are very astute in pointing that out. I do think he is trying to be too much of a statesman and too much of okay, I have to play this politically right. Because ultimately, I think he loves coaching and wants to coach and win. And if that is what you want to do, man, fuck all that politicking and backstabbing, right? Like, well, now, I get it. You got to do a little bit of that because that's how this club goes. But ultimately, you have to find a way, and I think he will learn that over time because he's young as a coach. What is the right balance between me saying, all right, fuck what you guys got going on, and also me doing all right, let me be politically correct and doing what I have to do behind the scenes, right? It's a balance. And I think he's finding what that balance is.
There is a balance, and there's an argument he might have already missed a train to find it by some people, just because the energy of the team has been so dead. But and besides this, just touching on this, we'll probably come back to it, but I think the Endrick situation is the biggest mistake he's made. I said this
for sure.
Yeah, that's the big mistake. And then if you go secondary, he is a lot like Carlo, and we were very critical of Carlo last year, and we haven't been as critical of Alonso this year, no question, in terms of just purely matching the results in squad. But it's just a belief that, you know, Alonso's going to come with the opposite approach. So if he's not able to do that at this environment, then we definitely need someone who can. But with that being said, it doesn't sound like Florentino brings these guys in thinking, hey, you're going to shake up the environment. It's like he has an idea in his head. And as we saw in the report from last time, you know, people tell him one thing, he hears something from different people at the club, and it's not clear who's making the choices of what's working. So when results aren't there, the method to evaluate the process is not there.
Non-existent, right?
Unless you're investing in players, because we have to make sure we get that right. So the player investment process is perfect, but the internal evaluation process outside that seems to be non-existent. We can measure a player. That's it. Measure a player we're going to sign.
I will say, I'll push back a little bit and say it's not perfect only in that, yes, we can identify all the elite talent, but it's not perfect because no matter what their fit is internally, we bring them in regardless, right? That part is not perfect. It's like,
I get it. Fit.
Yes, it's like, I get it. Commercial, you want to do all that, cool, but then you realize now you have a big problem where this team does not fit. Let's get back a little bit on the pitch, Sid. I thought in that first half, especially when so they put the 4 attacking type players on, right? In Mbappe, Vini, Rodrigo, and Jude Bellingham. And of course, Arda Güler, right? As sort of that 5th player. But Jude played deep to help in our build-up, right? Because we realized that, and look, Sid, I think I feel this way. I think most fans probably feel this way. I think Arda's a very talented kid, but I think we have enough sample size, Sid, to see. We talked about it on the last show. He is not one for this midfield when it comes to not just physicality, but just making decisions and ability to pass and read the game properly. Like, he just can't do it well. Like, he needs a ton of space in front of him to be able to make all his proper reads and do. And guess what? Like, the book is out, as you said. They're like, okay, just take away his space and he'll fucking fuck up and turn the ball over. And that it happens every time, Sid. Like, every time. And so, to me, I think it's best if he no longer starts. And if you're going to go 4 in the midfield, Camavinga takes that slot now that he's seemingly and he's back. You have Camavinga and Jude in the midfield as opposed to Arda and Jude in the midfield.
Yeah. Well, I think in general, Arda did not do much to take advantage of the space for sure. And it's a 3 or a 5 at the back that's creating space, just to be clear. It's the same thing we use against Celta. So Tchouaméni dropping in between the center backs. Mm-hmm. You're seeing the wing backs advance.
Yep.
And in that back 3, there's enough like pressure on the front line of the other team that someone gets open in midfield. And against Celta, that was a Jude a lot. Jude was basically trying to do the same today, but honestly, that's having him do all that and crash the box is ridiculous. Like,
well, he had so much work to do today. He basically had to do the entire midfield by himself because nobody else is doing that. And to your point, crash the box, right? Which he did on that beautiful header and goal, which I'm sure we'll get to.
Yes. And so I love Leconte's framing, putting it up on the screen, but like, basically, today we got the lack of ball dominance of like our midfielders combined with the selfish tendencies of our attackers.
Oh, well, let's get into that, man.
Well, so the combo ruined us because we're basically like playing an okay team that's not like dominating us necessarily, but large sequences of the game are basically us chasing shadows because our attackers don't start the press that effectively. Ashraf was pointing out earlier in the season, maybe at some games we would start the press better, especially Marseille. Mm-hmm. But even like our better defensive games, like the front line is really not enthusiastic. And I think teams are even seeing that. They're like, those guys, like they might show body language to start, like make them run in a few circles. Let's see what they do.
They'll stop.
Yeah. And they don't initiate with the same enthusiasm. And then honestly, Mbappe was going for the record today. Vinny, first touch he got, like, the first counter we had, Mbappe is like asking for the ball. Vinny gets it and just refuses to let go of it. And I'm just like, this is everything. And I thought this would change under Alonso. We're right back to square one.
It is. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. Ambition's good, but when it bleeds into agenda, it's problematic for the team. And that's where we're at now. Like you saw it in this match, Sid. Mbappe cared about the record and nothing else. That's what he was going for. Okay, cool. But, if you're now going to not, as Sid said, have the proper intensity with your press, continue to take shit angles, right? Like, how easy was it for Sevilla to bypass those two in the front and just literally 2 passes? All right, ball wide open. Here they go. Like, and Ashraf said this. We have 2 passengers when we're out of possession. Like, you can't have 2 guys up front who don't want to do that. Like, because that means we're playing 8, right? Everywhere else. Like, we're outnumbered because those 2 don't want to do what they have to do. And it taxes everybody else now. Everyone has to make up ground because of that. Now, it's all well and good when they're scoring and doing all that, but they're not even taking advantage of the chances and blowing it because Mbappe's like, I want to beat this Cristiano record with, bro, like, who? Like, that's such a meaningless record. Who gives a shit? And Vinny's probably like, I haven't scored a goal in like a millennia. Fuck, I got to score. And it's just like, Sid, I wasn't one of these people who was like, I don't know, Vinny and Mbappe, this thing doesn't work. I mean, how much more evidence do we need to see, Sid, that especially if they are going to play with their own agendas versus for the collective?
I was just tweeting at one dude on Twitter, Abdul, and I was saying, they're looking back. Yes, there are a lot of worlds where it doesn't work, but it's just sad because like, we talk about outcomes where if you do something 100 times a lot, like, this is one of the worst outcomes of these 2 together.
One of the worst, without question.
In spite of the fit bullshit and all that, we had the best locker room in our history. That's what he walked into. But little did we know how much was changing, which is Cruz leaving, and if like
Cruz and Modric.
Yeah, and what strikes me is like how much France and Qatar delaying his decision screwed Kylian's career. Like it just screwed because that time he had just had 4 years at PSG. It's like his habits haven't been ruined yet. He's not going to play with Mbappe, with Messi and Neymar and build an even bigger ego. He's going to come play with Benzema, who's literally a better player than almost anyone he's seen with his eyes at that point. Who also is maybe the best complement to him if he wants to be a striker, who can also teach him to play that role. Because what let's be honest, Kylian's ideal role would be the 60-goal Benzema with the playmaking of Benzema too. If he could like do the Ben stuff,
because he can't do that stuff. He cannot. He is so bad with his back to goal, Sid. Like I'm just like, oh, like that. His touch when he's not good at that. That's not what he's good at. Like, and I'm not. That doesn't mean he's a bad player. It's like, yo, okay, you could put him on the left then, right? Because he's better than Vinny at that. Let him go out and be there, right? And then Vinny comes off, right? But he can't do the Benzema things. That's just not in his repertoire.
Yeah, and it's not. And I think a lot of people are now going contrarian, and I agree with the idea that Mbappe is not the highest on the blame scale. I think we agree here. But he's not blameless because he's being compared to the GOATs of the past here. And he is not as good a player as Cristiano. He's not playing a role like Benzema, and he's not a role-playing superstar like 2022 Benzema, who can be the role player stuff and the star stuff. We haven't seen that from him. And in general, like I love what LeConte points out. He's very ball focused. Like that's what I hate about him. Like Ronaldo and Benzema were not ball focused. Like Benzema was ball focused to stitch the move, not to like come near the ball and like feel involved. Like he wasn't about that.
Look how deep Mbappe was dropping in the touch. I'm like, bro, like what are you doing down here? Like it's just, it's baffling. It's so baffling, Sid. I look. We'll get to the blame scale and all that stuff later, but again, this goes into this club is almost all the way there in terms of identifying talent and who's very good and who to bring on, but knowing whom to move out to service that and get the pieces to fit, they are horrible at that. And I want to point this out, Sid. Not only was it Cruz and Modric, Nacho, Joselu, Carvajal injured, so he's not in the locker room now. Why do I say these guys? It's not because they're the best in the world, although Cruz and Modric at their time was and Carvajal at his peak was. There is a certain belief that those guys have and a feeling about the badge and the club, right? That they care about that more than anything else. The whole idea about ambition versus agenda. They have ambition, but their ambition is for the team and the club to succeed. Right? That those guys care so deep. I mean, Nacho will play whatever fucking position you tell him to play, right? Because that's just who he was. How many guys right now in this club, in this squad, would do that? How many?
Yeah, no, it's the whole situation. It's just shocking though to go from 2024 to this so fast. Like it's 18 months ago. I was in Mumbai with the Peñas just watching that game. Like I had that sinking feeling watching Cruz walk off, but hey, it was still overall happy. And now there's no happiness in sight anytime soon. And that contrast is just incredible. And it just speaks to how much age, it just speaks to how much power dynamics matters in everything. Like, honestly, because it's not age or veterans or any of that. It's power dynamics. Cruz, Modric, and Benzema are older and know the club better and know how to convey messages to younger players. These guys at the same age look at each other and there's no method of like enforcing that. Like if who's Vinny going to go talk to at the club to, like, at this point, it feels like their own camps are fighting at the club. There's no older player who makes more money than all the agents and everyone combined who can just be like, shut up, or you're playing against a team. Like there's nobody who's going out there and telling Vinny he's playing against a team right now. He is doing what Ben said in that clip, like so many times. And it's a shame, but I think that speaks to, one thing we have to do. Like people say, sign Alex Garcia. Let me confirm his age here. I think age and experience is huge. And I know, a funny thing is like almost nobody in Europe is going to come into this locker room and be like, I've won. Listen to me. That's the hard part.
There is no Cruz or Modric like that have 5 or 6 champions. There's no one.
You know what's funny though? I'm not saying we get it, but like if we were to ever get Rodri on a free transfer, he could probably tell him to do that. Like he's won the Euros, I know he didn't deserve the Ballon d'Or in our eyes, but he won the Ballon d'Or. He's won a treble, and he had one of the best high volume passing seasons plus 20 goals. Like we haven't seen that. And
I think yes, peak version of him, but I think he's cooked now. Like,
I think he's cooked. I think he's cooked. If he wasn't cooked, I think he would come to us. Like I honestly think he's that competitive where he's like, holy shit, I could replace Cruz at that goddamn team. Like, I'll do it. But we need vets. Like a lot of people are saying this. We can't really afford to bring on someone that young anymore. And every team goes through this. The best example is Chelsea. They're stupid. They signed a bunch of young players. They grow a couple years, and then they swap the guys who grew for the guys who are like 2 years back on the developmental curve. That's why when Chelsea beat Barcelona, I was just like, there's no way like they're actually good. I'm like, this goes against everything I learned about their summer. And look what happened. They haven't won since. Like, basically.
True. They've been crap since. Sid, what are your thoughts? I want to talk about Bellingham's games. Again, I thought he was outstanding today. Between him and Courtois, those are my co-men of the match. I don't know who actually won it, but that's who I'm giving it to. To me, Sid, he has the right personality type to be the leader of this squad. The problem is how this club works from a hierarchy standpoint, right? You have to be here a certain amount of years and age before you get put on the captaincy, line, right? Which is why, I mean, Carvajal is the captain now, but he's out. So then it goes Fede, right? Like, and I'm like, Fede, and I love Fede, but if you're asking me who's a leader between Jude and Fede, it's Bellingham with a bullet every single time. It's not even close, right? And so is there a way in which you can overcome club policy and club dynamics and just be like, this is the guy to me?
Well, that's where I don't know, because it all goes back to Jude not even getting mentioned for the Ballon d'Or, which was very strange.
So stupid. So dumb.
Yeah, that was just, we talk about that being a strange moment and a sign that like somebody or something is not entirely straight at the club. Like, it's just a smart club campaigns for both of them. I don't know what else to say. Like, equally, like you just increase your odds, I think. I really don't think that was lost entirely because like there's a first, second, and third place vote on that thing. So if you campaign hard, you get your first and second on Jude and Vinny. That's what you want to do. They're both first and second. You don't care who. Instead, Rodri snuck in between all that because there was no clear campaign. I do partly blame that because I don't think the messaging was clear from the club. Like with Modric, I feel like it was clear. We sold Cristiano. We wanted Modric to win. Yeah. Agree that Jude needs to be the leader. I think Jude just had too much to do, like LeConte said, just pulling up his little image here. Jude was basically dropping, telling players where or when to move, and chasing on defense for Vinny and Mbappe way too much. And like it's just way too much. And and the other thing is like if he's doing too much of the dropping, no one's doing the central receiving because Kylian's weird with that stuff, as we've established. He's not great unless he's doing the give and go. But then we have guys on our team of attitude who don't like doing give and go sometimes, like Vinny. And then it's way too much. So I agree. We need someone else. We do need a veteran. We need someone like Alex Garcia. And I know, Jarod, we were going to talk about the game, but just skimming over it. Let's be honest. The story of the game was that a game in previous years where you would have time on the ball and be like, okay, we're doing something. Those periods are gone. We score in random situations, set piece for Rodrigo to Jude, and then we get a penalty in the second half. A lot of the times we had chances, these guys were not passing to each other. It was the worst attacking efficiency display. And I get it. Last game of the year, Mbappe wants his record. But no, man, it was bad.
Fuck your record, man. Like, who cares about that shit? The goal is, again, I use it in NBA analogy all the time, and some of you get mad, and you got to get over that shit. In every industry, people borrow from other industries and take from the best of the best and understand. That's what you do when you're at the elite of any profession. Like, you borrow from other coaches. You look out through professional sports, college sports, whatever. You'll have the winningest, like, volleyball coach go talk to the head football coach about whatever. Like, because it's at the end of the day, it's a people business. Okay. It's about how to get optimum performance out of people. End of story. No matter what the sport is, that is your goal. And so what can I steal from you that you have, that you've worked out so well that I can use? And this idea about Mbappe's record, fuck his record. When Kawhi was with the Spurs and they were asking Pop, when did the light switch on for Kawhi and he become like the destroyer that we know on both ends of the floor? When I would draw up plays in the huddle and Kawhi finally realized, oh, it's not about me scoring. It's about us scoring, right? Like, yes, light bulb, ding. It's about we, not me. Sometimes it means me, but ultimately, what is the best thing for us, right? Like, and if you're coming into a game with an agenda, I have to beat Cristiano Ronaldo. I'm sorry, Sid, that doesn't say, that says nothing about us. That's about you.
Well, and that's where the interesting comparisons between them come in. It's like, I agree that with Mbappe, I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, but there are things we want to throw out, no doubt. Like there are things we don't need to keep that we can optimize around. Cristiano, when he was hunting records, was already a Ballon d'Or winner. He had already won. He was already one of the greatest players in the history of the Premier League. Maybe the greatest 3-season run, just winning three in a row. And then he dethroned Mourinho's Chelsea. And then he reached back-to-back finals Champions League, led them to another one, lost. And then also led us to a 100-point league title the year before. So the resume does not stack up. And even if you love Mbappe, I love it. Look, Mbappe is not the highest on the blame scale, but no matter what, these things coming into a winning environment when you haven't won on the same scale, and then on top of that, when you don't offer box presence and like gravity off the ball, when you are too ball centric, like I understand we don't give and go with him, but he should sometimes just get out of the way if we're not going to give and go with him. Just go stand up front. Like, what are you doing down there? Why are you not making the run? And like, that's because, it's his tendency. And Cristiano would actually have the same body language when someone else wouldn't pass to him as Mbappe did today. As Mbappe got mad when they didn't pass. I'm not even upset at that. It's more about the box presence, the ball-centric nature. Cristiano really did not do that. Like, especially the last 4 years, it was just ball movement with him. It was like he would get off the ball as fast as he needed. That was the goal. He knew it wasn't his job to be on the ball. Kylian doesn't fully understand that, and that's definitely an issue. Not the highest on the blame scale, but
it's an issue.
It's one of several. And I guess the highest on the blame scale, though, from a squad perspective, is definitely the turning out of pressure. Like we saw with Goulet in the we talk about selfish attacking play, but what about limited attacking play where like Goulet had that pass to Kylian. Everyone complains and says, like, why aren't you playing to Rodrigo? Mazin made a good point, who we're trying to bring him on as an advisor, and he watches the game tactically. He was saying Goulet can't make that read because he just doesn't have the angle. He's one of the least...
Like, Sid, I'm watching that pass to him, but it's like it's almost like he had a blocker on the left, like about able to move his eyes to scan the rest of the pitch. He's just locked in on Mbappe the whole time, and I'm like, bro, forget about your head. Just shift your eyes slightly, and you're like, oh shit, I got Rodrigo. I got it's here. Like, and again, that ability to read the game. And look, he's 20. He's not a finished product yet. But this is something I said at the beginning of the season, Sid, if you remember. If Real Madrid's goal is to win every championship and every trophy available, that means as an organization, as a club, we don't have space and time on the pitch for player development, right? That's what that means, right? Now, if you're saying that, well, we don't necessarily have to do all that, okay, well then let the growing pains happen and let it play out. But I don't think that's what people want. I think the club wants to win, right? We have enough sample size to see. And look, this is the thing when you sign a bunch of young players, which again, I applaud them for, right? I love it. Housen, Carreras, Arda was already here. Arda, Endrick, all these super young talents. Sid, I think all of them have a chance to be high functioning to, if not elite players on Champions League winning squads. But you don't have elite IQ the minute you step on the pitch. If you do, when you're 19, you're the fucking greatest player of all time, right? And this is most people, you have to go through shit to get points of reference. That's how you get better. Like, and there's no other, and the way you get better is by fucking up, making mistakes. That's the only way. And I'm saying all that to say, Arda was an issue. Dean Howson was also an issue.
A lot of sloppy mistakes.
Here's the thing about Dean. He is an excellent ball-playing center back, but he did not play well on the ball today. Now, I'll talk about some of that to rustiness, coming back off injury, all that. Here's one thing, again, about IQ and awareness. As a player, Dean has to know, Sid, I am not the fastest center back in the world, right? Not by far. Like, that's just something you have to know and realize. Okay, cool. I'm not the fastest. So if that is in fact the case, I have to have enough awareness about me that the minute the ball is not at my feet, I have to be on hyper vigilant alert, right? To be like, let me take a step back to get myself ready so that when those runs come, I am not in a dead even foot race. Because I know in a dead even foot race with most people, I am losing that battle, right?
Well, that's the disappointing.
And you have to just, come on, like, what are we doing?
Well, we compared Dean to Sergio, and he's better on the ball, but he's definitely not as fast, guys. I'm sorry.
Not even close.
No, Sergio is one of the fastest center backs ever. It's not close. Well, I think that Dean thing kind of exposes the Dean thing, the Mbappe thing, the Arda thing. It all, and Vinny, like the defending, it all ties into this just isn't a team that can afford to defend without the ball that much. That is being forced to defend.
Bad.
But we're being forced to defend with them. And you see it in the stats, 2.98 XG to 1.6, but only 53% possession against Sevilla.
That's
so
terrible.
We're barely keeping the ball more. Field tilt, 52.3 to 47. So the ball
was with how many minutes of an extra man, Sid?
A lot.
30?
A lot of minutes, exactly. And it's a lot of minutes with just an extra man. And I don't know why the Mark R stat thing, I think it's a mistake. It has 2 red cards on it if you see. But there was only 1. That's what I thought. Okay. Yeah, and the worst part was how we played against 10 men. The reality is, like, we don't have enough to defend. Like, we need the 20-30 pass sequences to defend, Jarod. That's the problem right now, because that's what people missed those years. Like, okay, the coaching wasn't sophisticated. We didn't figure it out. We'd have bad periods, fine. But, like, Cruz would play 10 passes where the team's just chasing, and that would take time and energy away from them. It would drain clock. Like, passing side to side to drain clock is the feature of the best teams in history, Jarod. I just do not think there are that many teams that could survive that long in a historical, all-time great knockout tournament if they just can't control their destiny with the ball. I understand the culture of not defending at this club. I can accept it, having followed it for so long. But then the lack of quality in passing has to be the spotlight, and that's where I feel like there's been a lot of deflection from the board. Like, it's pretty clear we just need more passing. Like, it's so obvious, and that's why I've been saying for a month since we did this mini restart while rebranding. The season's over. We said it a few weeks ago. Like, this is what I saw coming, Jarod. How is a team that's addicted to surviving and defending with the ball suddenly going to, like, learn to play defense and not be able to do anything with the ball? It's not happening.
You're so right. I mean, that's one of the things, one of the things that people always criticize Cruz about is that he's a sideways passing merchant. And I'd always push back on that. I'm like, and he was in certain instances, because to your point, Sid, that helped drain the clock, that made them tired, getting people. And also it then forces the opponent out of their shape and out of their positions, right? And now we can turn and do what we have to do, right? Like, that's the way that you defend, right? And he was so good at that. And that's the thing that you learn. Again, Cruz wasn't like that the minute he fucking stepped on a pitch as a pro. You get better with that over time. We have nobody on the pitch who can do that right now, right? Look, we talked about press resistance and how that's such a problem for us. My God, like, is Jude the only press resistant person on this fucking team?
No, Camavinga.
So, of course.
It's funny though, because Camavinga comes on with 10 men, and he starts by, like, literally being a breath of fresh air, but we really soon just revert to, like, the same old back and forth stuff, and it goes away fast. He has, like, 2-3 great sequences. You're like we create a chance, he wins a second ball, and then he has a moment where he's going side to side, manipulating the block, and Tchouaméni looks so much more comfortable because someone who can kind of drive the ball is there next to him now, and then it just disappears so quickly. But someone said, but he is key. But that's why Alex Garcia, I think, is a great shot from Lecante, and everyone, in the comments saying, well, we need 2 Alex Garcias, or 3 is my point. We don't need just one.
Right.
Like, we need a few points of failure, and that's why that Bilbao game was so sad. It's like, oh, the players and coach talked and it worked. No, Trent's out. Like, all of you who think you said you're going to do whatever, like, let's find out what you're actually willing to do. What actually works. Yeah, and it's all math at the end of the day. I don't want to the defensive side of things. Like, no attacker who scores 58 or no winger like Vinny needs to be judged on defense first. But, like, the math of this team is just, you either do 20 to 30 pass sequences or you defend. Like, that's football. You can't play football without either. I think there's this, like, maybe Mourinho's Real Madrid could have done it, Jarod, 13 years ago. I don't think that team can do. That team wouldn't exist now. You can't play without ball pressure and transition all the time. You can't do that.
And I think, you hit the nail on the head right there, going back, because I was thinking about it, and, the 3-peat team. And first of all, as you know, Sid, I don't like that was 3 different iterations of a team. Yes, the main pieces were there, but every season is different and presents this new challenge. So I don't call it like, oh, it was the same team that won 3 straight. Like, it was Real Madrid that won 3 straight, but not the exact same dynamics. That being said, I was looking back through just that period, right? That 10-year stretch starting in the 2013-2014 season, where we win 6 out of 10 Champions Leagues, right? As all Real Madrid fans know, we were only able to win 4 league titles during that stretch. 4. In a league where, let's be honest, outside of Atleti and Barca, and in that period, there were some down years, particularly for Atleti, right? Like, how is it we only have 4, right? And to me, that as we head towards the blame pie, that goes to a cultural thing. One of the things that this club loves to say is that, oh, well, we always say we prioritize the Champions League more than the league. And that works for our little cute narrative and all that. But the reality is, Sid, it's easier. It's not easy, but easier to circle from the round of 16 or quarterfinals on 3 matches to get up for emotionally, tactically, physically, all the things, right? Than it is to say, no, we're going to dominate every opponent, or try to, because you're not going to win every game you play. We're going to try to dominate every opponent we play from the beginning of the season to the end. There's a reason why we haven't won a treble, right? Because whatever reason, this club's DNA, they take their foot off the gas. All this flip switching shit that I don't believe in. I don't believe in switches. That's not a thing. Because by the way, we saw it. What happened to the flip switch against Liverpool? What happened to it against Man City? Right? Like, we lost. Right? So there is no flip switching.
Well, if we don't win it for 30 years, did we just forget to flip the switch? People don't realize that.
Right. Like, it's not how this works. One of the things I remember, Sid, that Bulls team, which to me is still the best team record-wise that can win a title, because the Warriors did not win the title that year. They went 72-10. And that team, when you talk to them and they talk about what was the difference and why you were able to, because they didn't win every game, right? They lost 10. They said on those Tuesday nights in Charlotte or those Thursday nights in Toronto where we're like, oh man, I don't fucking want to be here. Like, right? Because it's natural. You just don't want to do shit. Mm-hmm. Michael Jordan's competitiveness and his level raised it for all of us. He'd be like, we are not fucking losing this game tonight. Get your ass back on that screen, right? And that raised everybody. And so as a club, he didn't have to do so much of that because it was woven into who they were. We're going to compete every night. We might lose, but it ain't going to be because we didn't give a shit and try. Whereas this club, how many times do you watch? They just don't give a shit. Like, and to me, that is not something. If that is inside your club with your players, that is fucking terrible.
Yeah, no, the club has a lot of words about like values and like trying till the last second. That's what Florentino brought up at the Christmas thing.
They say shit, but do they?
Yeah. And trying till the last second is a good value, but it really glosses over like that we tried till the last second to gloss over our process, and we succeeded for a few years. And I'm so thankful that the players embody that. I can't believe it, but I don't see how this works going forward under a club with when you combine it with the report we heard over the midweek. I think that's where, like, we talked about the blame game, and we've talked about this game. What is there to talk about? There's, I guess, the last thing with this game I'll say.
Oh, I'll say I thought Rodrigo played well. Yes,
exactly.
He played very well. Rodrigo played very well.
The last thing I want to say is we're so bad at turning out a ball pressure that Rodrigo is a midfielder now. Yes. Rodrigo was coming over to do shit because Goulart can't turn. So Rodrigo's playing in the zone. Goulart can to turn for him. And he's defending hard and he's making runs and he's releasing the ball when it's right. He's the only one of those. He's one of the guys not playing for stats. Not the only one, but he's one of the guys not playing for stats. And yeah, and I still think Endrick needs to be used more. Like, game like today, why are you trying to fix them? Why can't you just put Rodrigo in the Goulart role and stick Endrick up there and just make Rodrigo a midfielder? That would be my big criticism of Alonso today.
Endrick couldn't because of the suspension, but
right. Okay. So I hope we see more Endrick and the loan is canceled. But yeah, we can criticize Xabi for not being bold, for playing politics and having a like Zidane. I think the difference is Zidane realizes he has leverage over Real Madrid, and Carlo and Alonso don't. Because people keep saying like Alonso doesn't have leeway like Carlo, Zidane. I'm like, they're all different. And I'd say Carlo and Alonso are more similar in that they're kind of chill people, but they're also chill when you talk to them. Zidane is like chill on the outside and when you talk to him, but inside he's a psycho. Yeah. And I'm not saying these guys are not competitive psychos. Alonso is a competitive psycho, clearly, but it's to a fault where, well, I don't know. I don't even want to say to a fault. It's just in these high pressure, honestly, insanely high testosterone and highly toxic, like, hey, the byproduct of testosterone is estrogen, which is toxic. So highly toxic hormonal places. Like, it's not always positive. When they work together, when these uber personalities thump their chests and work together, it's harmonious. When they don't, it's actually a really scary place. It's hard. It's scary too, I would say. It's like you just feel like you're walking on eggshells all the time.
I Imagine what that dressing room is like, right? When Xabi's walking in there and like, players are like little factions are in corners whispering. It's just, listen, when we keep telling you guys all the pieces matter, so many of you want to be like, oh, just fire this coach and bring on this player as if that's going to solve. It's not. It may solve an immediate problem and it may win you in those perfect years where the alchemy is right. You may win the big trophy. But what Sid and I are talking about is how do we build sustainable success? Because Real Madrid's history has been, I think Sid, you would agree, in spite of itself, right? It's happened in spite of itself, right? Of what we know about how this club operates and runs. It's happened because we've gotten the alchemy right. We've had Carlo able to say, all right, guys, block out all that shit that we know that goes on out here with chefs putting out pastries and donuts and cookies before big matches. And for 90 minutes, I want you to focus on this.
Well, people like do it for Cruz and Modric, guys, and dance. And they'll be happy.
Right. In those random moments where you can do that. But that is not a path to long-term sustainable success. It's just not, right? So when we're always talking about all these various things, yes, we go back to that blame pie. Xabi's on it. The players are on it. But I'm sorry, this board and leadership starts at the top. And Florentino, to me, Sid, they are at the top of the blame chart and get the majority of the blame for where the club finds itself right now.
Yeah, and as discussed, again, go check the last episode. But like, it's hard to blame the coach for when the president doesn't know how to empower people and even give them an organizational hierarchy. Like that's what it sounds like. So when the coach, like if he can't tell the cook to stay out of the way of the nutritionist, how is the coach going to do anything? Like it's probably a screwed up place. And I would say
the nutritionist said, I want you to make the specific meal plan for player X. The cook said, fuck you, and put donuts out. I'm paraphrasing, but what is that? Like, what are we doing?
I'm saying I've worked with those types of people because they just see your whole paradigm as funny. So like to them, like a random piece of bread, for you to think that it matters, they want to make fun of you. So they want to put random shit almost as vengeance. That's what I read it as, because I know how people with those ideologies go about things. And what's scary is this. He doesn't address it at all. He pretty much, like, I know how PR works. You pretty much act like the report didn't exist. You clearly told all your journalists to not ask anything about it because nobody said a word, bro. Nobody said a word. All these journalists who fly to the Bernabeu, you probably threatened to revoke their fucking media pass. We know how you work. We know.
Of course. Listen, anyone who asked the question they weren't supposed to ask will no longer have access to games. And, and this is the problem with the current media landscape, forget about sports, of the world. People don't ask tough questions because access will be revoked. Well,
exactly.
So then what are we doing? So then what are we actually doing then?
Right. And that's the point, because he controls the media. Like, that's why the fact that nobody addressed it almost makes her seem more sane. It's like, okay, like the same things people told you, they're now telling the other journalists, like, shut up or we're going to get to you. And that's why it's awesome that we are out here. We do not have a presence in Spain at the moment. It's funny, though. I was just thinking, Jarod, we do want to have a presence at the stadium. How's that going to work now that we want to pick a fight with the president, too? So how's that going to work?
After we light the club on fire, I don't know. But it's not born out of maliciousness, Sid. It is born out of we want them to be the best. Yes, I know that historically, by all the measures, Champions League, this, that, and the third, this is the greatest club in world football, all that. Yeah. I get all that. But to do what this club, if you want to continue to be going into the rest of the 21st century and forward, I'm sorry, this club is woefully behind in that regard. Woefully behind. Like, look at what, I know, Sid, you'd probably agree. Well, Spain fans probably disagree. But you would say the last 5 years last 5 years, the Premier League is a harder league to win than La Liga, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Firmly.
Look at
firmly.
what
I love Real Madrid. Firmly. Just letting all. I know there's so many Spanish stands. Firmly. Yes, right. It's a harder league.
Look at what Pep did with City during that run. Like, won that shit. Except for last year against Liverpool, right? Now you could argue oil money, all that. Yeah. But it's not like Madrid's a fucking C-level team that spends $10 million a year on payroll, right? They spend a ton of money too. How is it in an easier league you can't dominate and put on a stretch like that? Because that culture of consistency, right? Whatever goes on inside Man City from whatever, Pep is able to get that locker room and that dressing room, whatever's going on. This is what my vision is. And I'm not saying we have to go all, Juego de possession and all that bullshit. It's not about that. It's about, hey man, this is what I want. This is what I want to see happen. And this is how we're going to make it work. And if you have people within the organization actively sabotaging you from doing that, how's it going to happen? How is it going to happen? That's what you have. You have people literally inside the club sabotaging one another.
Yeah, and if that group is in any way connected to Florentino, where their livelihood is connected to their family, because a lot of that shit goes on at football clubs. All sports. It's literally nepotistic garbage to get people near the owner hired, and then smart owners hire good people and put these other people in roles where they don't hurt the team, where they actually learn. So like, you bring your nepo babies over, they learn, they help the environment, they maintain it. They're not put in positions that they can't handle. You bring in smart people for those. Sounds like we try to do that, but it's kind of seeped in where it doesn't always happen in every single way. And going to one comment, like Miriam says, I agree with LeConte, even Chaka would elevate us. Yeah, granted, Chaka, who was on Xabi's Leverkusen, would help us.
Oh, yeah, yes, for sure.
Go watch Leverkusen. Go find one player on this team who can do what Chaka does. There isn't one. There literally isn't one. Like, we used to, you know why this comes full circle? I was just so sick of seeing some of the Pedri slander. I hate to say it because I'm just like, listen, like, he's not that as bad. Like, I get he's been injured and I get they overhype him sometimes, but like, why are we trashing Pedri? And another one, when Chaka and Cruz were compared before, it was always like poor man's Cruz, but it's like, okay, but he's still closer to Cruz than most players. He does things many players don't. Like, why do we have to make fun of him? So it kind of strikes a vein going back for a few years, how many times like when we got all our guys and won, the sheer results bias to like kind of ride your own Kool-Aid. Fans tell themselves the craziest stories, man. Like, y'all just want to be in some crazy reality that don't exist.
And I get it. Listen, those Remontada comebacks were stuff of legend. I get it. Like, and it made us feel so good. The endorphins were on overdrive. We were all drunk, feeling so good. But as we know, the job of a club is not to be drunk off endorphins and all that shit, right? The job of a club is to, after it happens, is to go back and do sober analysis and see what is what. And if sober analysis was conducted, they'd realize, hey, man, we got incredibly lucky to win those last two Champions Leagues. We have some clear holes and clear areas that we need to fix.
Yeah. We've kind of talked about the solution and the culture and everything, and there's so much that needs to change. But I wonder, what I hate about this rotten culture is I see this playing out. They know things aren't getting better. They kind of interfered in his team selections, and now they know it's not going great, but I feel like they're just waiting till it's convenient to sack Alonso. And
we know when it's going to be. We know exactly when it's going to happen.
Super Cup, huh?
Correct. That semifinal match against Atleti, we know what's going to happen. We already know. Sid, what about this current team tells you they're going to beat Atleti in the semifinals?
No, nothing. Absolutely nothing. I would say the only thing is, like, we have some time off, and like when great players sometimes bullshit around and get crazy ththings happen with great players, where like today we didn't play well, no 20 to 30 pass sequences, attackers basically playing for themselves at points. And we still won. So you can talk yourself into it, but I agree that that's so sad that like they're waiting till that moment. That's what is disgusting culturally, because it's like you're preserving yourself so you can make it through the election and get your legislation passed. Sack him if you really don't believe in him. Like, what are you waiting for, Florentino? You're not backing him. You already screwed with the locker room, so he can't implement what he wants. Just sack him, bro. And this hiding behind the club and the media reports, that's some pussy shit. Just saying. That's weak ass shit.
It's so factual. Look, I always get on Laporta for being in the media and talking so much, right? But at least he's out there, right? Like, nice, a lot of bullshit, but he's out there. Florentino talks to the media literally never, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, bro, we got questions, my guy. Forget about changing the ownership model and structure and all that. Yeah, great. About this report where you wanted this nutritionist and you then did not empower her to be successful. You let doctors literally say to her, food has no impact on performance. Sid, I texted this to you. If I said to you in a sane moment, Sid, gas and motor oil have no impact on car performance, what would you say to me?
No, that's crazy. It's ridiculous. Like, what goes in doesn't affect what comes out is what they're saying in terms of performance. It's ridiculous.
What? Like, Sid, that is medical malpractice. Like, What do you mean it has no like?
No, it's ridiculous, and that's why it's gone too far. Because like I get it, like on some level, a doctor isn't taught about diet and nutrition and power, but
which is why you empower nutritionists who that's what they do.
So the overstepping thing is just strikes me as weird, and it definitely comes across as elements of like narcissism, psychopathy, sociopathy, like some strange. And that's why I question nepotism. It's like you only do that if your fucking money's on the line. Like why else?
It is what you mentioned before, Sid, which is protection. And this is what I try to tell fans all the time in all sports. You think that anybody who works for the team is like you, in that all they care about is the club winning. And I promise you, that is not.
No.
What they care about is keeping their job. If you are one of the head doctors at Real Madrid, do you know what your life is like? First of all, you get paid really well, one, which means probably got a nice house, might have a second home, your kid's in private school, this, that, and the third, whatever, right? You go to whatever restaurant you want in Madrid that's hard for the average person to get into, you can get a reservation anytime you want. You want extra fringe benefits on all that. You don't want to give that up. So when someone comes in and says, again, because you don't have the knowledge base, because that's not what you're taught in medical school, you're not taught about nutrition, but this person is, you see that person as a threat to you, but they're not a threat. If you were smart enough, you'd realize, oh my God, if we work together in conjunction, everybody wins. But no, it's shit. They're going to overtake me and I'm going to get kicked out and we can't, because I'm going to lose my house. No, can't have that. So I'm going to sabotage them instead. Right? They don't give a shit about the team winning. It's about me keeping what I have. That's what matters most.
Yeah, 100%. And you know, kind of, I guess we're close to wrapping up here, Jarod. So on a close to ending note, I'm just so fascinated to see our journey on the show as far as like talking about these things and getting closer to the club. Because I'm just seeing like I was just realizing I've never felt so different to anyone else on the internet than when I talked about that report. I'm like, everyone else is anonymous or something. Like nobody's really talking about it. And I'm so excited to see like the next era, the next president. Honestly, so that's the thing. What is our incentive now? We want a better presidency that will give us access. So that is our logic now.
And look, I want to give Florentino credit from the commercial side, getting the Bernabeu renovated and all the. And if you go through all that, like he has brought in and built this brand to such a level, and I give him so much credit for that. But hey, man, in all of that, I think you lost sight of the sporting project a bit, right? And also, you lost sight of what is the culture and ethos of this team. You talk about fighting to the last and this, that, and the third, but there's no critical self-analysis. We know it because it's obvious. It's painfully obvious.
They don't know the value of the film room.
Correct. I mean, Sid, can we really quick, how long do you think Xabi was really making them watch film for? These people act like it was 5-hour film sessions. You know it wasn't that long. An hour max, probably. Well, 90 minutes.
Xabi played. I'm like, he played. He's not going to bore them, like beyond unless their standards are low. And that's the other thing that pisses me off is last year under Carlo, we're getting reports like, and that's why the presidency's pissing me off. It's the same shit as Zidane. Zidane 2021 reports they don't back him. Last year under Carlo, we were talking a lot about how he wasn't sophisticated. They were feeding us that info to just build into it. They heard it. They're like, you know what? That's what. Take the heat off us. Go for it. And I just want to apologize because I'm like, we're learning more about PR as we go too. And like, again, we are also a victim of being as part of following the winning environment. So even we can get a little complacent sometimes. That's how complacency works. So it's even harder within the organization. If fans get complacent, imagine within, because you really want to drink your own Kool-Aid. It's hard to keep like doing the sort of innovative hard work that lets you like be an industry leader year after year.
But that's how you maintain industry and how you win is by doing that hard work. And last thing I'll say, and a lot of fans come at him for whatever his football fandom is. I don't care. I think he's a good reporter. He and Balaguer had this piece that came out a couple weeks ago where Carlo talked to Xabi about the job specifically. And he said, look, we detail things during the week about what they were supposed to do on the weekend, and they would ignore it largely and do their own thing, right? And he said, you have some people with competing agendas on this squad. Specifically, he mentioned Mbappe cares about his records. Vinny cares about his waning influence in the locker room. And Fede only wants to play midfield and doesn't have the maturity to be a team captain. He laid it out. So, again, Xabi didn't walk into this knowing like it was. So, to your point, we do owe Carlos some sorry. It's like, you probably had ideas about what you wanted to do. And you realize this club is neutering me from the inside. I can only do so much. The only difference is that Carlo is such a statesman and politician that he's like a Teflon, right? Teflon Don. It rolls off his back. Everything's great. He still will always say the club is great. Florentino's great, right? He puts that out there. So we're like, oh, then it must be you. Then if everything's great, it's you.
Yeah, no, Carlos he's really good at like he played his role perfectly so well. He was basically the scapegoat they wanted him to be as well. And like we're not saying the sophisticated things shouldn't have been implemented, but it's clear that that's the thing. If you're being sabotaged from within, I will totally like change how I evaluate those games. Like I have no problem in not putting that on the coach. And that's what I'm saying with Alonso now too. I'm just like, I have no problem putting a lot of this on the president, even though he's made mistakes, because fundamentally your president and your squad sets your floor and ceiling. That's why it didn't matter some of the things Carlo did if he kept things harmonious. But hey, sometimes harmony comes at the expense of like holding people accountable, and you can't afford that. Absolutely. And that's what happens in successful situations. But main thing we want is keep the good, remove the bad, the board, the players. Like, Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. People keep saying sell Mbappe and how long. Listen, Mbappe's like in the second year of his deal. Just be realistic. We're still
not happening.
And that's why I go back to, you want to keep most of Florentino's commercial good too. There's very few things you change. All I'm saying is like the guy's acting like you know how easy it is to hire someone to audit the fucking medical thing? Like
not hard at all.
It's cheaper than like signing. It's easier than signing Trent. Like way easier. Easier than sending Liverpool 10 million for Trent for the World Cup. Way easier. So that's where it's like, I think nepotism is involved. I just can't believe nepotism is not involved. That's why there's no reporting. And that's why this could be the beginning of like the end for Florentino, honestly.
Yeah.
If it hasn't already.
If it hasn't already. And Sid, these little power vacuums and power struggles within the club, this is what can rot a club from the inside out. And I think you and I both agree, modern football is too good now. There's too much talent all over the place for this club to just be like, oh, no problem, we'll fix it. We'll just buy the next superstar next summer, and that'll patch up our problems, and we'll be good enough, and we'll win. I just think, especially the top level clubs, they're too good right now. They're way too good, and the coaching's too good for us to be able to get by with just, oh, we'll just sign this guy, and we'll be fine.
Yeah, and Miriam says it well. It's like Man United vibes right now. A little bit, yeah. It is a little bit.
It is.
That report was straight out of Man United.
I'm like, what club? What kind of club does? Yeah, a shitty club does stuff like this. Yeah.
You know, it's just so painful because I just like, I had that Vinny Atlanta game from 2024 seared into my head. I'm like, dude, you were normal like 5 weeks after the Ballon d'Or coming off an injury. Like you weren't showing all this ego stuff. It started after. And, just to defend the players now, if you can't get your first step back, you will literally go schizophrenic trying to find it in your prime. Like these guys expect their powers to be available to them. Mm-hmm. If they're randomly cut off by doctors sabotaging them, dude, it's the saddest thing I've ever heard. Like,
awful. Because
then Vinny's emotions are from his bad performance. He's like, oh, I can't dribble past him. All right, like that's fine, but why can't you trust me? Like, give me time. And it's like he wouldn't even need time if he had his first step. These fucking doctors took his first step away. Why? And like, because it's beyond the decision making. The first step has gotten worse, and I couldn't explain it. And I just thought maybe he's getting too predictable, always just playing like kick and go. But no. The first step is down because of the doctors.
Yeah, he can't get by people with that first step anymore. Sometimes when you can tell when it's like how much rest have we had before a match or whatever. Like you can kind of see it in certain instances. But yeah, it's not consistent like it was in that Ballon d'Or finishing second year, right? Where it was like, oh, Finney's gonna cook that dude.
And that's why I can't blame Carlo, lastly, or Xabi for the injuries. I don't blame them for Fede and Rudiger's minutes. Listen, we know how these things work. A coach's job is to only say no if they have to. But at the end of the day, if a player can play and they can help the team win, you're not supposed to hold them back and worry about injury. That's someone else's job. That's someone else who tells you if you can even think about playing him. Someone else gives you the green light. Out here, they're probably giving them the most bullshit green lights. Like, oh, he's fine. Go play him. Like, I really don't blame it on Xabi. People are blaming like Militao's injury on the high line. Listen, we can't play 20 to 30 passes. Do you want to sit deep and just watch us lose? Like, what do you want to do? So you want to just sit in our half and like let them dominate possession because we're not going to win it back if we sit off them. Like
we certainly aren't.
And so I don't blame Carlo or Xabi for the injuries. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if you want to close there, but none of these injuries are on them now. Like this is all on the club.
Yes, this is a club issue, a board issue, a Florentino issue. We got little factions within the medical staff, and then parts of the board. We got areas we got to fix. I do think that this last comment by Perloma Family 628 is interesting. Sincere question: are we really going to experience years of drought and early Champions League exit like after the Galactico era? I'm a little scared, my man. We are. listen, I think we're teetering on being there. We are so close to being in that wasteland. I look, you heard what Sid and I said. Miriam's like, yes. Unless something drastic happens, I think we are. I think we're headed there, man.
Let's say we don't sign anyone in January, and then we are on track to likely, unless Trent is healthy the last 6 months of the season consecutively. That is what it will take.
And plays out of his mind to his standards.
Yes, which to be honest, if he's healthy, I think he can. Like I think he, like, we saw enough just from Bilbao. But at the end of the day, expecting one player to stay healthy for 6 months is just what an idiot does in modern
unrealistic,
football.
Right?
Yeah, no one smart would do 1 point of failure. So then the main thing I'm highlighting, though, is the same way success breeds complacency, failure needs to change. I hate to admit it, but on some level, you need the president, like you need the people responsible to come under the heat. That's why I feel like what we did a couple of days ago was so important, because nobody else is doing it. If they get public opinion turns against them, and it slowly is, like we're never going to stop fighting that battle. We're not going to lie and just not speak our mind because the mob thinks we're stupid tacticos. No, we're just going to say what we think. And at the end of the day, more people need to do that, and more people need to be like, if more fans could really focus on that system analysis, seeing all the moving parts, don't talk about the players and coach, focus on the organization. I think we're actually like close to, like, we're on trajectory to fail pretty bad. Why wouldn't that lead to change? I'm kind of like the fans are not happy. And I think the whole Mbappe thing, the divided fan base, I think Florentino is going to get questioned. And maybe not the case even 6 weeks ago, but this report changed everything. I think this report was the domino that needed to fall.
I think so. The question now becomes, who can potentially be a legitimate presidential opponent for him? And will that person have enough support? Because I know there was some stuff about Florentino basically coalescing and having so much power that he almost made it a closed election system, right? Where like, there's really nobody in here to challenge.
He changed it. I think he changed the amount of money you need to deposit and all that stuff. So he made it for billionaires. Okay, fine, Flo. On some level, I'm not upset. Like, I don't know, some people are anti-billionaire and so on. I'm not upset with only super wealthy people who have handled large-scale organizations being able to lead Real Madrid, because that's what we are effectively now. You need someone, and the wealth is essentially a way to, as a proxy for, you have been around that level of wealth. You know how it moves. On some level, you understand how
doesn't mean you always know what you're doing. There are plenty of idiot billionaires that fuck shit up all the time.
It doesn't mean that. Yeah, it doesn't mean you're doing. But on some level, it's like you're not going to be like Laporta. You're not going to take levers and bullshit. You have money. You're smart. That's literally what it is. You're not Laporta. Like, can't come and do all that shit here. You need like the deposit itself is like half the levers. Like at that point, they'll be like, "What levers, bro? Like, fucking give it up front from your company." They'll ask the president. They're like, "We're not borrowing. We're different out here. We make our own money. We spend our own money here." But in the future, there's no question that Rafa Nadal is going to be someone who can threaten. He doesn't have the money as a former player.
Right.
However, I think also he needs to be a member for 20 years, so that's not happening for a few more years. Yeah. I just think it's a very Real Madrid thing, to be honest. Why wouldn't a GOAT of a sport has to be our president? What else? Who else? Like, why would it make sense for someone who's not a GOAT?
Listen, I love it, and especially if he's someone who he's not, I don't think, going to give in to complacency, right? Given his mindset as an athlete and how he approached his sport, I could see him being very much like, okay, this is what they need to succeed ultimately. Here's our process of how we review what's going on and what's working and what is not working, what we need to fix, right? Which again, Florentino not doing. He's so focused on the commercial side and all that, which again, important and great, but the sporting side suffering. And look, honestly, Sid, and this is the last thing we'll do here and we'll close. In many ways, this is what the Knicks were like for so many years before their recent turn of making the playoffs and being a good team in the NBA again. James Dolan didn't give a shit about the team being terrible. You know why? They were the wealthiest franchise in the NBA, biggest contracts, biggest brand, making all this money. The team turned over tons of profit. He's like, I don't care. I'm good. So in many ways, right, if Florentino's like, look, the club's turning over like good profit.
But James Dolan found his Luis Ocampos in the guy, right, who runs the Knicks.
Yes,
He brought in the sporting director who has contacts, and we didn't get Luis Ocampos. He went to PSG, who have been who got Vitinha, who got Fabian Ruiz, guys who we would love to have on our team. Imagine if we had Vitinha and Fabian Ruiz.
Oh my god,
we'd be the best. We'd be cooking.
Life would be so much different right now.
So Joao Neves, someone like that. Oh my god.
Oh please.
And for sure. And I mean, hey, it's kind of like the Lakers too. Like they kind of stopped caring. They kind of bullshitted LeBron. They didn't put the best team they could around him.
Sign a superstar. Okay, we're fine.
Yeah, and until the ownership changed, it was never guaranteed they would put a good team around the stars. Now there's new ownership. There's optimism, and we just don't want someone to reiterate that comment like Ramon Calderon. I got to look back into him. I'm going to be honest. I'm a first principles guy. We did win 2 league titles. I don't know what happened fully under his term. I got to look back into it. Just after everything I've learned in recent time, I do not, the period of Real Madrid before I started following day to day, it sounds like a lot was happening that's not really disclosed all the time. And I'm still learning going back. It's a lot. I'm trying to talk to Xavier, the guy, to go read the Spanish and give it firsthand too. There's a lot, man.
This club is like a Sith Lord in so many ways, right? All this, like, so much secrecy and mystery surrounding. I'm like, what's actually happening here?
It's literally like he wants to play out the Godfather or Goodfellas in the real world.
I know. It's like, bro, come on. We don't got time for this shit.
But it's funny because it's one of the few environments where everything is so alien, foreign. There's no school that really teaches you how things work here. It's only firsthand experience. And so it's one of those places, as we've talked about, sports teams where these weird old rich people get away with weird old things that nobody else would anywhere else, that are frankly illegal, weird, HR weird.
Oh my God. Violations up the wazoo. And the main thing is, Sid, again, and we'll close now, so much of it is shrouded in secrecy and mystery, like, because they don't talk. So, you know what I mean? So we don't know. Like, it takes someone like Itzi Gonzalez, right, to come out and say, otherwise, it still doesn't get out. And again, because journalists will get their access revoked if they press and force these people to answer questions.
Well, to close, Jarod, make sure you call Pablo Torre and get him on the case by the end of the year. You guys are in New York. You probably can hit him up.
I'll hit up Pablo. Like, I do know Pablo. Pablo's a good dude.
Yeah.
Maybe I should be like, Pablo, we got some questions.
Yeah. Like, do a little cross scoop episode. But listen, we got to get people across the Atlantic mobilized. They got a mafia out there. They're coming after people. I got to make sure LeConte is good in Kosovo. We're going to make sure our guys are good. We want to get investigative. But honestly, I almost feel thrilled by like that word. It's like, okay, like we're in the United States. Let's see what you do. You're going to send a hit squad over to the U.S. when we talk about it? What are you going to do? Like, you can't stop us talking about it in English. You can't stop talking about it in English.
Can't do it.
Well, thank you all for tuning in. This has been a lot of fun. Jarod, we discussed one format for the show, it went another way, but hey, it flowed well. It was a fun evening in Chicago and New York for both of us.
It was beautiful, man. Listen, this is our last post-match show of 2025. We might have another one come out before the end of the year.
We definitely do. Definitely have one. Okay. Maybe we'll hit up and record another potentially.
Possibly a second one. We definitely have one. But look, those of you that celebrate during the holidays, enjoy your holiday. Listen, take some time away from this club and don't drive yourself crazy. Enjoy family, friends, or whatever you do to enjoy yourself. Just get away from this stuff for a while because it will literally make you crazy.
Yeah, no, I don't condone vices or anything, but go drink, go smoke, get away from this shit. Like go hang out with family, go on vacation. Yeah, like get your head out of this. I can't wait to go relax. I mean, I can't wait.
Listen, these next couple of weeks with no Real Madrid football are going to be wonderful.
100%. And if you want things to change, when you go to bed, just imagine that we wake up in a different timeline. Mandela effect the past. I don't know what crazy magic voodoo shit you do. Do some voodoo. If you're from that part of the world, do some voodoo shit. I don't know.
I love it. Mandela effect the past is so great.
Just manifestation. That's what we're about here. I always tell the story when the comebacks were happening. I had a homie walk in like midway before you could tell it was going to come back. We'd be like, let's do it, and we'd watch, and it happened. And we didn't influence it, but it was surreal. And, just have some positive energy going into this. Like, don't let the club dictate your mood. It's just, that's not what a healthy fan does.
It's not healthy. Yes, it's not healthy. It's not healthy at all.
Totally. Well, the NBA Cup's over and the season and Real Madrid's year is over. I'm going to go hibernate. I'm only here for two things, Real Madrid and the NBA Cup, just letting you all know.
All right, guys.
Closing out, and lastly, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander got blocked by Anthony Edwards and stolen last night. So go watch that if you wanna. If you're into all that.
Sid going nuts out here, pushing his anti-SGA agenda.
Well, adios, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your year.
Later.